One of my favorite parts of ITIL Foundation is the guiding principles. Why? Because they can be used throughout all of business, not just in IT or the worlds that we work in. They can be used to even grow great businesses. Chris, tell us about the guiding principles.
The guiding principles. And remember, we talked about this, where the guiding principles were actually a part of the old ITIL practitioner back in 2016 when that was released. They had 9 of them. Now they're down to 7. And they were actually one of the more popular things that the framework had, I don't want to say added, but kind of put together and just congealed into these really great principles. Well, now they're down to 7, and we're going to be talking a little bit about them. By the way, for those of you who are going to be taking that exam, which obviously we hope you do, you're going to get 6 questions on the guiding principles. So make sure that you take some good notes here as we go through, and we're going to take a look at each one in particular. But just to kind of kick this off, let's start a little bit about the guiding principles themselves. So first off, guiding principles. One of the things that you need to understand is that the guiding principles are recommendations, okay? That's important, right? Recommendations that guides an organization, thus the guiding principle, in all circumstances. Okay, if you have that written down, just write that, all. And by the way, all equals, ready? All. That's all circumstances, all types of companies, all types of situations, just anything you can think of. These guiding principles are universal, as they say here. They are enduring. Now, what that means is that these are not rules. These are not regulations. Now, if you've ever heard me speak at anything about ITIL and the guiding principles, and I know, Scott, you've heard me teach this, talk about it in person, even doing a webinar on this. I talk about the fact that the cool thing about guiding principles is that they aren't strict controls. They're not rules and regulations, right?
That's right.
Okay. So the best way to kind of think about this is one of my favorite movies. Actually, it's one of my family's favorite movies, and it's Pirates of the Caribbean. So now I know you're familiar with the movie, yes?
I am very familiar. Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush, one of my favorite actors in the world, plays the, well, and by the way, I'm not ruining it for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's about pirates, and guess what? They're in the Caribbean. Okay, so, or the Caribbean is, I guess.
Caribbean.
Yeah, what I was like. So anyway, in the movie, you have Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, and he's kind of the good guy, and then you have the evil pirate Captain Barbossa, played by Jeffrey Rush. Now, there's also a character that's kind of I think all Disney movies have to have this, the kind of young teenage coming-of-age girl who kind of likes to rebel a little bit against her parents, in this case her dad, who's the governor of the island. And the way that she rebels is she loves pirates. She loves everything about pirates. So she really knows how they operate. Well, this actually helps her out in the movie because it kind of helps save her life. And so at one point, the evil pirate captain captures her, and they're kind of having this negotiation. And the way that she kind of, fixes them is she knows all their rules. She knows that there is this rules, the code, the pirate code that everyone has to follow. And so she has this argument with him, and she kind of wins a couple of little things until finally he says, all right, we'll do a deal. And she goes, all right, we'll do the deal. And he goes, all right, I'm leaving. I'm not going to bomb your city anymore. And he goes, all right, cast off. And she goes, well, wait a minute, you got to put me on shore. And he goes, no, I don't. And she goes, but the code. And then he says something very important. There's 3 things he says. Now, of course, all of you have to do it with the pirate accent. He says, first, the return to shore was not part of our negotiation, so I must do nothing. Second, you must be a pirate for the code to apply, of which you are not. And third, they're more like guidelines than actual rules. These are more like guidelines than actual rules, which means, do you have to do this word for word exactly? No. No, you don't. So that's important. So these universal enduring guidelines, these guiding principles. Now, what's going to be interesting about this is many of them you're going to probably say, hey, I know that one. Maybe I live my life by some of these guiding principles. One of the more popular ones is keep it simple and practical. And many of you have probably heard of the KISS principle, right? Keep it simple. Well, in our family, we'd say silly because stupid was a bad word, we would say, for my kids.
Snuck that in there.
Yeah, snuck that in there, right? Yeah. Keep it simple. Yeah, all right. Keep it simple, stupid, silly, however you want to say it. But it's don't overcomplicate things. That's a great principle for your life, as well as how about building out networks and building out infrastructure and using cloud versus, keep it simple. And so we're going to see these as you go through these individual episodes. And one of them, like keep it simple and practical, you're going to go, yeah, that makes sense. Not only for my IT department, but also my business, the organization, maybe even, my local club or chapter I belong to of PMI or IT Service Management Foundation, ITSMF. It doesn't matter. So these guiding principles, as it says right here, they're universally applicable to nearly any initiative and to any type of relationship you have with stakeholders. So it's not just for big senior management no, it's not senior management. No, it's for all the worker bees, the drones down there. No, it's for everybody. So as I like to say, it's kind of like continual improvement. A little bit later on, I'm going to talk about continual improvement, and I'm going to say it's for everyone, everywhere, all the time. Guess what? One of the things about the guiding principles is it helps you implement continual improvement in your organization. Why? Because it's good everywhere, for everyone, all the time. And so these guiding principles are what you're going to be using to not only do this, but ready? Ding, 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 well at room. This helps you implement ITIL as a framework in your organization. In fact, I think, Scott, you would agree that by just using these principles, a lot of times the senior management and the people that are maybe not into the weeds of the IT and the technology go, hey, that makes sense, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah, so think about that. So this is another way for you to communicate if you're the IT operations director or if you're somebody who works in the IT operations world and you're thinking, man, how do I persuade my I used to call them the upper muckety-mucks, that, hey, this is going to be a good thing that we utilize ITIL as our framework. Show them the guiding principles. And then they don't have to worry about incident management and problem management. They figure, hey, you'll handle that. But goodness gracious, if you've got these guiding principles and that's the kind of the part of the foundation of how you're going to do things, that's where we're going to be talking about some good stuff. So we want to adopt and adapt ITIL 4. These guiding principles are going to help. So to kind of close it off, let's just give you a sneak preview here. We've got focus on value, start where you are. We have, of course, the infamous progress iteratively with feedback, collaborate and promote visibility. We want to think and work holistically. Hey, look, there it is. Keep it simple and practical. And then we have, of course, finally, optimize and automate. So these are the 7 guiding principles that we are going to be covering over the upcoming episodes. I highly recommend, number 1, don't ignore this episode. We gave you a couple of really good things in here that could be testable, like number 1, that the recommendations, they help make good, wise decisions in your organization. They're good to help implement continual improvement, and even ultimately, Scott, adapt and utilize ITIL in your environment.
Yeah, and don't forget, they apply to all.
Apply to all. And they're more like guidelines.
More like guidelines. All right, so there you have it. You have the guiding principles, and we're going to head over to our next video where we start to dig in on them. And our first one up is focusing on value. So let's go.